Goran, thank you.
Thank
for being
you.
here to Rachid Taha.
Yeah.
It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here.
No, it's mine.
No, it's mine. It's mine. You welcome to Seattle.
Thank you.
Welcome to the States. It's an interesting time in the States, and I'm glad that you're here. Very glad.
Oh, it's for me it's an incredible miracle that I have audience around the world, but in States it's especially a big miracle for me.
Oh, there's a big population that's come. That when I started playing you, I was surprised that so many people here knew you. And there was during the war, a huge population from Bosnia and Serbia, Croatia came here. So there was a population here that really enjoyed this. So
I think also if you are naive, you think that everything is on YouTube and on TV. There is curious people who will discover even more weird composers than I am. And then also I think that for the first time, I think in history, we're witnessing such a big influence of small culture, not only in music, of course, in the movies, in literature, in kitchen.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Tell me a little bit about the record's beautiful. We just said that it was #1 on Amazon and iTunes. You weren't expecting that.
Oh, in Universal, nobody expected.
Congratulations.
Thank you. No, it's actually recorded in 2 parts.
Mm-hmm.
This is Opus 1, where I put some songs that I wrote for my favorite Jewish, Christian and Muslim artists, with just 3 pieces of violin concerto, because everything started with violin concerto. And then next year I will release second Opus 2, where I will put concerto for 3 violinists and symphonic orchestra.
Wow, okay, so you already planned it out.
This is how it started. It was commissioned by Basilique Saint-Denis in Paris.
Okay.
And I started from 2 metaphors. Sarajevo is a metaphor, because Sarajevo could be a metaphor for our times, because what we saw in the world now, we saw in Sarajevo in the 90s. Today we can be good neighbors and tomorrow shoot to each other just because we are from different religion.
Yeah.
And then violin was my first instrument. And it also has, as a metaphor, can make this first metaphor music, because violin is played in 3 main manners: Christian classical, how we play classical music; klezmer, how we play Jews, which is one technique, quite different; and Oriental, how we play Muslims in Orient, which is completely different technique. So I did this violin concerto in form of 3 letters, and consequences is this. I have this 2 records out of it.
Beautiful, but the metaphor for letters is really interesting, because it's to me, when I see something that's titled a letter, it means it came from someplace else or it came from a different time, and there's this hope to it. It's when you get a letter, even if you don't know what it is, you're excited to open it, and there's something interesting there. Is that something you think?
I will tell you a little story that is printed on the record, where it says that one reporter of CNN heard about one old Jew who comes for the years on the Wailing Wall to pray. About 4 years, twice a day. So she decided to make a little reportage. She go in Jerusalem, and old Jew was in front of Wailing Wall praying. She was waiting that he finished, and then she approached. She said, "You are here in front of Wailing Wall talking to God?" He said, "Yes, already for 60 years." And she said, And he said, I talk to him, I'm telling him that these wars between Christian, Muslims and Jews should stop in one moment, that at least our kids could live better than we do. And she said, And he said, I have the impression that I talk to a wall. So if there is any moral out of this story, that is that obviously God in his schedule didn't put to teach us how to live together. This is something that we have to learn by ourselves. So obviously in 21st century we have to learn this, because in the past it was simply you just kill different. In 21st century it's not going to be possible anymore. So every one of us, you, me, I don't know, everybody, we should do something for this world to be a little bit better, to learn how to live differently. So this record is like a little message in the bottle. Probably someone will find it.
Okay, so, but I'm not going to get philosophical with you, but just a little bit. Why is it that like the times when different people are together, some of the most beautiful cuisine, art, culture comes from that, and yet it can suddenly turn sour so quickly. Like
It's
people
because-
know that it's working. Sarajevo is beautiful. Everybody's going, it's a beautiful place. All these, Istanbul is a beautiful place. Why is it?
Because culture is about exchanging cultures. Every culture is mixture of millions of cultures. Only barbarism is authentic. Culture is always mixture. So this like new paranoia about immigrants is completely anti-historical. What will be this world without migration?
Yeah, I know.
We are civilization of migrants. We're not gonna have iPhone if father of this guy didn't came from Syria. You're not gonna have this iPhone. So it's just a normal process for planet Earth.
So do you think this is temporary? You think?
I
there's
think
like-
it's temporary, of course. Yes.
Okay. And your records, your music, you've been doing this you've been very complex in your work. You work in films, you create concertos, you were played in a rock band, you were the biggest star in
It is
Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia doesn't exist
schizophrenic,
anymore.
But schizophrenic career, yeah.
But this is you allow yourself, you're not a traditionalist. You're willing to try new things. And you've always have been.
Yes, but the problem with composers, they are always local. Because they found one flute in Germany 22,000 years old, which means that we had music before we learned how to speak, before religion, before everything. So music comes from much deeper place than language. There are writers who write on foreign language, like I don't know, Kundera, he writes on French, or Salman Rushdie, he writes on English. This is possible, but composer cannot cheat that. You are always, it comes from you something much deeper than language. So all composers, I mean, imagine if you throw out everything from Gershwin that he took from tradition or inspired by tradition. I don't know, Lennon, McCartney, Bono, Stravinsky, everybody, it's just inevitable.
Perfect.
So you can be modern in a way, like be influenced by the more modern things, but in the very end, because things comes from deep from you, it will be obvious. It will be obvious from where you are.
But there's something about music that seems to transcend. You're able to tell a story that affects people differently than looking at a piece of art or even a piece of literature. There's something you feel emotionally. I've been playing your music for a long time, playing other people's music, and I'm getting, it's interesting right now because we're reaching a much larger population. So more people that would never have heard this, would never have had that connection, are now making that connection. You're bigger than ever, and your process is growing all the time. That must be very interesting. You're reaching more people all the time.
Well, it's the music. Music is nothing really necessary. It's not food or air or sex. But it's like salt. You can eat without, but it will be taste.
Yeah.
Taste will be a little bit weird. So, music is something that just bring us together on very old-fashioned way. We will be together on this concert tonight. Me, 10 of us on stage, and those people down there. And this will be like we were on one ship together for some times. And we're not gonna forget this. Somewhere in our subconscious, it will be this moment of being together. And this is the magic of music. This is probably the only thing that human being has to be together. It's music.
So let's riff on that for a second. So you were on Residente's record, which won the Latin Grammy,
Yeah.
and he took that test and he discovered that he was he had ancestors all over the world,
Yeah.
and he chose to represent that with music. You played with him
Yeah.
with that, and that's an interesting thing. It's like, so science has given him a sense of knowledge right now.
Yeah.
So he thought he's Puerto Rican. He's not. He's actually all over the world, as we all are.
Yeah.
What made you say yes to
All with
doing
big
that
pleasure,
record?
because he's really, on the way, very elegant artist, and this concept is so beautiful. It's on very much on the traces what I do,
Yeah.
telling the world that this is what it's all about. We have to learn to be together, because since always this is what we are trying, by mixing our genes, like in his project, or by mixing music, like in my project. But this is what it's all about.
What made you choose the artists on Letters from Sarajevo? Why Bebe? Why Rachid Taha? What was it about them that made you?
Well,
go
you
like,
know,
I
if
wanna
you
record them?
look a little bit on my records, you will always find artists that normally I will ask them for autograph if I saw them on the airport. So there is nobody from really showbiz there. It's always someone that really, if I don't know, if I Sarajevo, I will ask autograph, or Iggy Pop, I will ask autograph.
Yeah.
Or Asaf Avidan, I will ask autograph. It's probably the most interesting voice today that we have on the planet. So I had privilege that people wants to do something with me, because I'm not showbiz guy. I'm not using the people or things.
No, it feels like a collaboration.
Yeah.
Like you're making something.
Yeah, and then it's not just I'm sending by email something and then sending. Oh no, I was traveling in Tel Aviv and everywhere in Spain.
Perfect. So it's real. It's like you're there. You're spending time with them.
Yes. This is
video.
how I imagine my job.
Okay. Well, you've won at life. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But you got a chance to work with Rachid before he passed, and to me, he's one of these interesting artists that got a chance to really show a culture at a particular time where people didn't quite know. So, and he was a complicated artist and living pretty hardcore. So tell me a little bit about what it was like working with him.
in the way he should be in the 60s, 70s. He's this kind of suicide artist, like, I don't know, this tradition of Hendrix and Janis Joplin.
Got it.
He lives like that. He was really not for these times. But I didn't have a long relationship with him, but this is one artist that I really respect very much.
Okay.
And I think that we left behind us his last two recordings that we're not going to be ashamed.
No, it's beautiful.
He's on the other world and me here.
That's great. That's awesome. And tell me, outside of the second part of the record, what are some of the other things that because you're so busy, you're working on films, you're working on projects.
No,
what are
I'm
some of
not
the things
doing
that-
films for a long time. You know, when I did my first movie, Time of Gypsies, I was the biggest rock star in my country. And rock stars, they don't make music for the movies. You can do this just for friendship. So I did my first movie for friendship, luckily, because when the war starts, I was in exile in Paris. This was the only job they proposed me, because I had golden record from Time of Gypsies in 10 countries in Europe. So this is how I survived the war, because I did movies. So actually all my biography as a movie composer is during the war.
Okay.
But honestly, I'm not good movie composer. My music is too aggressive, too melodic. And then also I came on the movie too late. It's not like in times when even Stravinsky did music for the movies. It's nowadays movie is just a product. Even most talented directors make just entertainment. Nobody wants to watch any more good movie.
Yeah, they want to watch good television.
Well, I don't know, but you will find really rarely decent composers that work for the movies. I don't know. I can tell you one or two movies that I really heard the real work of real composer, but mainly this is just illustrators that illustrate image. So I'm not in the movies for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. Of course, I still consider my records as a soundtracks, because those are soundtracks in my head.
Yeah.
And I like to imagine that probably, because all of us, we have some soundtracks. When we are traveling, soundtrack, when we are, I don't know, doing nothing, when we are, I don't know, in good mood, in bad mood. I like to imagine that probably I fell down in those soundtracks, private soundtracks, which is for me much more beautiful than just a movie.
Okay, beautiful. So there's an interest right now. We've been playing music from Yugoslavia. We're playing music from the old Soviet bloc, and Yugoslavia is this interesting place because it's like you still have Poland, you still have Czech Republic, you have Slovakia, you have Germany and part of East Germany. But Yugoslavia was an interesting thing, and now it's gone. It's a multitude of different countries. What are your memories of Yugoslavia? If you feel comfortable talking about that.
Well, my father was colonel, so I'm from the military house. Yes.
Okay.
And it was like Yugoslavia. My parents divorced, same like Yugoslavia. My father was Catholic and my mother was Orthodox. So the tragedy of this country is because this is borderline, unique borderline humankind, direct borderline between Orthodox, Catholics and Muslims. So this is why we have this terrible history. And this last war is just repeated one of the old wars. But actually it's always about religion.
Okay, so do you spend half your time in Belgrade and half your time in Prague?
Well, if of course it's not gonna happen, but if suddenly your country disappeared, language that you are raised and you write doesn't exist anymore, then you find out that your homeland, it's not political or geographical territory. It's always emotional territory. So I don't know. I have a house in Zagreb. I have a house in Belgrade and in Sarajevo too. Those are the places where I don't feel like really to go in hotel. And I don't have a problem to show up the passport. But still, for me, this is my emotional territory. What is political or geographical doesn't matter.
That's where you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Goran, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful to see you.
Thank you.
Have a great show.
Thank you.
Goran Bregović with Brega.
Really.
Perfect. Thank you.